Such a genius. Hey guys, what's up? My name's Tree, and I'm here to give you an overview of my first year at UCR as a pre-med student. And as you can see, my clothes over there are all packed because I just moved out of my Pentland dorm. So I'm here to just give you advice on what I learned throughout the year. Let's see.
The expectations I had when I was first coming in.
Right? It's weird. Okay.
No.
So first off, I'm gonna go over my expectations on what I thought college was gonna be like when I first came here. So UCR is one of the biggest campuses out of all the UCs. It's bigger than UCLA, I believe. And advice would be to so you have week 0, which is just your intro week where you have no classes, you just moved into all your dorms and everyone's just settling down. So I would take that time to just look up a map of the campus and get to know your where each of the buildings are, so when first quarter starts, you know already where your classes are going to be. So for me, I signed up to be in a learning community, and I had a lot of time in between my courses to I had big gaps, so I learned to take advantage of those gaps to study the material before my class began, so I'd be prepared for what the professor was going to teach or my TA. And the thing to expect at UCR is that a lot of people you meet, half of them are going to be either bio majors or engineers, and don't get discouraged by that, because although everyone's trying to become a doctor or trying to go pre-health or whatnot, it's all dependent on what you do in your classes. So as long as you stay committed and you're dedicated to becoming the profession that you want, then you're gonna be fine. You guys all came to UC Riverside for a reason, so please don't get discouraged by everyone who wants to be a doctor, go pre-health, because by the end of let's say third quarter, half the people are going to end up switching their majors, and as long as you got the grades that you put in the work for, you're going to be fine. And as long as you have that dedication throughout the next years of your life, you're going to be chilling. All right, so now I'm going to get into the specifics about what I learned from my first year. So a big thing, it's going to happen pretty recently for you guys, if you guys are watching it this year, is the MAE. It's the Math Advisory Exam, I believe that's what it stands for, and it's going to be a math placement exam, which depending on how you score, it's going to place you in a certain math level. And the thing about UCR is that the math level that you place in correlates with the science classes that you're going to take. For me personally, I was placed in Math 5, which is, for me, I personally thought I was behind one quarter, but it really varies, because a lot of people I know, they were placed in Math 6A and Math 6B, which is below Math 5, or ARC, which is below that. And then some people were placed above me. My roommate was placed in Math 7A, which is one math level ahead of me. But it really doesn't matter, because at UCR, the math system is you have to take at least 2 quarters of calc, and I think a year of math in general. So for me, because I took pre-calc for my first quarter, I ended up taking calc my second and third quarter. So within this first year, I finished all the math I need to take, except stats. I have to take that later on. But other than that, my math credits are all done right now. The big thing to know is that don't take the MAE for granted. On the UC Riverside website, you can find a link to study guides or practice exams on how to prepare for that. And please do that, because you don't want to do poorly on that and waste time or maybe money taking summer classes in the future to catch up on math. All right guys, next thing is orientation, and this is going to happen during the summer, and you're going to go to UCR for a day or two, spend the night there, get to learn about the campus, take a tour of it. And during orientation, you're going to be provided with this paper, and then you can either sign up to be a part of a learning community or not. And guys, please sign up for the learning community. I think it's the best decision I made this year. And this learning community, it's very important. I think it's vital for your first year, because it's a good transition from high school to college. In high school, you had classes with a set group of students and you knew them all. But in college, it's very different, because if you're not in a learning community, you're going to be taking a set of courses, and every person in that lecture or discussion is going to be completely different, and you're not going to know you're probably not going to know a lot of people in there. But in the learning community, you're going to have the same set of students in each of the lectures and each of the discussions. So if you were to become friends with them, then you can study with them, do homework together. It's a very good way to make a study group out of, so you can succeed. You can succeed in the classes. So now I'm gonna go over my first quarter on what I learned specifically that quarter. And first thing was, one, don't feel pressured to like get over involved, because I know a lot of people do that and they let it get to them and they don't do well in their schoolwork. So for me personally, I just use my first quarter to just focus on school, get the grades, get settled down, get accustomed to the school. I mostly used second and third quarter to get involved, such as in labs, maybe volunteering, or maybe fraternities or sororities. One thing I learned from first quarter is that the quarter system is very fast. At UCR, it's 3 quarters in the year, and each quarter is about 10 weeks long. And for me, I took about 3 different courses per quarter, and it felt like I had a midterm every week, or no, sorry, every other week. And a big thing to do is probably have a Google Calendar and set down when your midterms are, or when your finals are, when there are potential quizzes, and like just have a schedule so you know good times to study to be prepared for the future. In my first quarter at UCR, I took a class. It was like a freshman advisory class, and in that class they gave me like this sheet of all the classes I needed to take in order to apply for med school. I'm gonna post it right here. And then not only that, you have to take breath classes, and breath classes are just like courses that you need to take to graduate. So they're not specifically for med school, but just courses that I have to graduate for UC Riverside. And what I like to do is I like to take the main courses and then like a breath course every quarter. So then by the end of the year, like I'll knock down a few of the breath courses, so I'll graduate on time, if not earlier. Second quarter, still the main gist of first quarter. I was still learning, so me personally, I didn't take a lot of time to get involved. But then third quarter was third quarter was the big difference. I joined this medical fraternity called Phi Delta Epsilon. At UCR, Phi Delta Epsilon is a pre-med chapter, and I think it's very beneficial if you're looking to go pre-med, because you're surrounded by a group of like-minded people who have the same goals and aspirations as you. And there's also this other fraternity, it's called DEM, it's pre-health, so not specifically for doctors, but maybe for veterinarians, nursing, other occupations. So any of you guys watching, you guys should like look out for either of those two, because they're really helpful. And for the other extracurriculars, for me personally, I'm gonna wait till my second year to start applying for those. So second year, I plan on getting in a research lab. I'm already in contact with someone right now, which is pretty exciting. And then I also plan on doing COPE, which is like this opportunity to volunteer at a hospital. And in Riverside, there are 2 hospitals. There's the Riverside Community Hospital, and there's a Kaiser Permanente, and either of them are good options. There's also Loma Linda, so you can volunteer there too. And then I also plan on applying to a clinic. There's RFC and there's SBFC, so Riverside Free Clinic and San Bernardino Free Clinic. Both of those are great options if you have time. Even in my first year, regret that I have is not applying to those 2 clinics my first year, because some of my fellow classmates applied and they actually got either into the clinic or they got interviews for it. And even if I didn't get in, if I got the chance to get interviewed for it, I would take that opportunity to either learn from it or just like gain better knowledge for like future experiences. So I regret not applying. And then I think that's it for extracurriculars. So now I'm gonna move on to my grades. All right, guys, so here I'm gonna put a snapshot of my grades and my classes for first quarter. My first quarter, because I was placed in Math 5, I was placed as well in an intro to chem class. So those 2 classes were like, they weren't too difficult, so I also decided to take 2 breaths. So I took English and I took Psych. And personally, I found English was pretty difficult. I don't know about any other people, but English is just like not my best subject, so I ended up getting a B in it. So it was like whatever, but because I got a B in it, it affected my GPA. So instead of getting a 4.0, it brought me down to a 3.69. And a big thing about college is that the plus and minuses in front of the letters matters. So a B plus was, I think, a 3.3, and then let's see, a B minus is a 2.7. So like try to do your best to like, you know, aim for like the grade that you want, if that makes sense. Like if you're borderline to getting a B and not a B minus, then go for the B, because that 0.3 difference can like have a big impact on your grade. We're going on to second quarter, so I'm taking my first series of the my first course of the chem series. It was just general chem, and then at UCR, I think at all colleges too, you're placed in a lab for the science course. So for chem, I had chem lab, so a total of 5 units. Generally, I personally think that the lab is easier than the course, the lecture itself. So put more emphasis on studying the material for the course than the lab, because you can clutch lab, but then trying to play catch up on the course itself is very difficult. And then second quarter, I also took English again, and I got a B plus. So like I said, a B plus, the GPA is higher than a regular B. So although I got a B in English, I'm happy I got a B plus rather than a B. And then that was my only B for the quarter. And then now we go on to spring quarter. And personally, I thought spring quarter was the hardest, because since it was the third quarter and there wasn't like a big break in between winter and spring, I felt very apathetic the whole quarter. I didn't really want to like study that much. But luckily, because I joined Phi to E, I was surrounded by like-minded people who really pushed me and supported me throughout the quarter. So I ended up doing pretty well this quarter. I got a B plus in biolab though. Personally, I found that was the hardest course in the quarter, because a lot of the information I needed to like do on the class, I wasn't well aware of like where to look for it. So a big thing for biolab, if you're gonna take it at UCR, is to always just like check the Google Drive for what assignments are due, because me and my lab partner, we did not check that, so we ended up getting zeros on 2 assignments because we didn't know the due date. So if we had checked the Google Drive, then we probably have an A in the class, but we both got B's because we missed the assignment. So overall, my first year, I didn't really join a lot of organizations besides Phi Delta Epsilon, but I feel like it was good that I just like took my time and I went at my own pace, because I finished off fairly strong with a 3.81, but I feel like had I joined an organization my first quarter, it would have set me astray, and I would have let that get to me and I wouldn't have performed as well. So because I gave myself the time to get adjusted to the college life, it gave me it set me to a good start for the rest of the year. Also guys, in week 0, there's going to be a lot of fraternities, sororities, and organizations who are going to approach you to like join whatever they want you to join, and you guys can join them, but just be mindful that don't feel pressure to do anything that you don't want to do. So just know to take your time, because I know some people who joined some organizations and they did really well, but I also know some people who they couldn't find the balance between schoolwork and what they were involved in. So just be careful and be mindful, guys. Alright guys, thanks for watching my first YouTube video. If you have any questions or concerns, just comment down below and I'll answer them as soon as possible. Peace.